Another day, another PlayStation sale. The January PlayStation Store sale has just ended and we have been graced with another PlayStation Store sale. This one is called Games Under 20 Bucks and it runs for about 2 weeks until the beginning of February. The sale has a lot of reused deals from the January sale. Some of them are better than the January sale, some of them are worse than the January sale. In this video, I'm going to be recommending 24 games under 10 bucks. I thought I'd go all out in this one. Hey folks, if you're a new viewer of the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. I make new videos about PlayStation every single day, and a subscribe to the channel would be very much appreciated. I also don't ask for this enough, but if you guys could all like this video, that would be awesome. The last PlayStation Store sale video that we made got around 10,000 views and 400 likes, and it would be awesome if this one could completely crush that. Maybe in this one we could aim for 500 likes. That would be really, really cool. Now this is 1 out of 5 of these videos that I'm going to be making. The next couple of videos are going to be indie deals, because a lot of people have been asking for those. Budget games, because they're games we don't really cover in these videos very frequently. Games under 5 bucks, and then PlayStation VR games on sale as well. So check those out over the next couple of days. Alright, let's get on with the first deal, under $10. First up we have Mad Max. This is the WB movie tie-in game that's not tied into a movie, but it's still set in the Mad Max universe. The game is actually really, really good, despite its servers being shut down earlier on in 2020. So if you're a Platinum trophy hunter, don't go for this one because the trophies are now unobtainable, or the Platinum is now unobtainable. The game itself is a really fun, open world, third-person, beat-em-up style game. It uses the combat system from Batman, so that whole blocking, punching system, which is very satisfying to play as. You play in this massive open world. It's got very fun driving and racing mechanics as you race Max's magnum opus. But the game does become a sort of checklist style game like any open world Ubisoft game as you get deeper into it, with the world being very samey as you progress through, with the same kinds of scavenging and missions in there. 10 bucks for South Park, The Stick of Truth. This is the remastered version from the PlayStation 3 and the 360. If you like South Park, this is a must buy. You've probably already got it if you like South Park, but if you like comedy style games, even the Rick and Morty or Justin Roiland games like Trover, I would still recommend this. This is an absolute blast to play. It's so much fun. It's a turn-based RPG, but like very, very light turn-based RPG. The majority of the game is around exploring the world of South Park and listening to all the jokes that the characters have to say. It's essentially just a really, really long episode of South Park. Think of it almost as an entire season crammed into one. Very funny, absolutely worth your time. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now this is the weaker out of the 2 Ghost Recon games. I know Wildlands was much more positively received, but as a cooperative, team-based, third-person shooter, it still does a great job, and for 9 bucks, it's not that badly priced. The game itself does have its shortcomings when it comes to content, variety, things like that, and like I said, it doesn't hit the highs of Wildlands. That open world was amazing. This game here still does a great job if you're into that style of game though, and like I said, 10 bucks, you can't really go wrong with the price point at that low. This one here kind of shocked me. Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is the 2D fighting Dragon Ball game that came out a couple of years ago. This isn't Xenoverse, although Xenoverse is great. This is different. This is much more akin to the old school Dragon Ball games, and as an anime game, this is one of the best anime games that has been released. Traditionally, anime games have a habit of being kind of average, and I would say that these guys did a great job with this. It captures the heart of Dragon Ball, and it makes all the characters equal as well, so you can play as your favorite character, even if it's Krillin, and still beat a Super Saiyan, because that's always fun. The game itself is really solid, and for 9 bucks, this is an absolute steal. I don't believe I've seen this game this cheap before, because I've been wanting to pick this one at digital as well, because I have a disc version and I want to change just to a digital version. So good price for a game like this. This is an absolute must buy. Payday 2 is a little bit old, but it's 4 bucks, well, $3.59 on the PlayStation Store. This is a really fun co-op game to play with your buddies. You do heists and things like that. Think of GTA 5 heists, but an entire game built around heists in first person. It's a lot of fun. You pick the contract you want to do. You choose how you want to execute it. If you want to go loud or you want to go stealthy, you go in, you do the heist, you escape, you get the loot, you upgrade your gear, you do it again. It's a lot of fun. I played this game so much when it came out earlier on in the PlayStation 4 life cycle. Granted, it's a little bit old now. It came out in 2015, so it is slightly dated, but there's a ton of extra DLC content in here as well. I think this has the most DLC packs of any game on the PlayStation 4. So if you're a trophy hunter, you're getting a ton of trophies in this one single game. Rise of the Tomb Raider. The reason I put this on the list is not only is it $6, which is an awesome deal for this game, this is, I think, the best out of the 3 new Tomb Raider games in that trilogy. Also, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is free on PlayStation Plus right now, so if you want to play the rest of that trilogy, you can go and pick up this one and play the game that came before it. I know it's a little bit weird to do it in that order, but maybe you're holding off playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider even though it was given to you for free because you haven't played this one, so it's a good opportunity to pick this one up. Tomb Raider, third-person action game, very similar to Uncharted. Inspired by Uncharted, in fact, which was originally inspired by Tomb Raider. Great game, worth your time, worth picking up. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now this is the less fighting version of Dragon Ball. It does still have fighting elements, but it's more of a 3D fighter rather than a 2D fighter. And I would say this game fits more into a beat 'em up category than a fighting game category. It's just very different. Great game though, with a really cool and unique story to it as well, about time traveling, creating your own character, whether it's a Namekian, a Frieza, a Saiyan, going back in time and fighting with the Z fighters as they complete all the different fights through Dragon Ball Z. Really cool and unique concept for a game, and if you like Dragon Ball, you're gonna like this game. If you don't like Dragon Ball, it's probably one you can pass on though. Infamous Second Son is $10. Keep in mind, this is free on the PlayStation Plus collection if you're a PS5 owner, so if you're getting a PS5 anytime soon, you have a PS5, obviously don't buy this, but if you don't, great open world superhero game. This was a launch title for the PS4, or a launch window title for the PS4. The great thing about this game though is how compact it is. If you're looking for a very small open world game to play, but a really high quality game, then this is a great one to pick up. You can finish this thing in like less than 20 hours. The open world is really tiny, it's not overwhelming, the collectibles aren't overwhelming, it's just nice and compact. It almost feels like a PS3 game that's a PS4 game, if that makes sense, where it's like a smaller scope. So if you're looking for something like a little bit more compact, great game. And the superpowers in this game are so cool as well and creative. I think his power is neon, if I remember it correctly, or it might be smoke, which is just such a random superpower. The Division 2 is $8.99. Division and Division 2 drop in price quite frequently on the PlayStation Store, so keep that in mind. I don't know if this is the cheapest it's ever been, and this is just the standard edition. Division is kind of the apocalyptic end of the world game that's sort of like a live service game, co-op team-based RPG type thing. Think Destiny. It's very similar to Destiny. Third-person shooting style game, but it's a game that you'll get tons of content out of. So if you're looking for a game to play for the next like 2 months or 3 months, this is a great one to pick up. There's a bunch of content in the single player and main portion of the campaign, but then there's also post-game content as well that you can play and complete with yourself, your buddies, or people online, and the post-game is really where this game becomes something quite special. Bound in Flames, I've recommended this one before. It's a pretty average RPG, I would say, but it's $2. If you're looking for a really, really cheap game to play, $2, I mean, you can't really go wrong at that price. It was a launch window title game again, so it does look a little bit like a PS3 game. It's kind of like an early version of like a Dragon Age mixed with a Dark Souls, but not as good as either of those games. Keep that in mind. But if you're looking for something really budget to play, this could be a good fantasy RPG for you to pick up. The Surge is $5. This is an absolute steal for this game. Surge is a future version of Dark Souls. It's set in this post-apocalyptic robot dystopian world. You play as this guy on a wheelchair and he gets these prosthetics which allow him to walk again, and then it's that slow, methodical combat from Dark Souls with the worlds looping back in on each other, the convoluted story, the epic boss battles. Very, very good. Maybe not quite as good as Dark Souls, but a very fun Dark Souls clone that does something so different and unique to a normal Dark Souls game. God Eater 3 is $9. This is a Japanese RPG style game. It's the third in the series of games that originally released, I believe, on the PSP and the PlayStation Vita. This game kind of feels a little bit like the Monster Hunter games in terms of how it plays and conducts itself, with that sort of Japanese anime art style and aesthetic with it as well. If you're into JRPGs and things like that and you're looking for a new JRPG to pick up, this is $8.99. It's a good price for what you're getting. The game was $60, so it's 85% off. And these Japanese games traditionally don't go on sale as frequently as the Western games do. Murdered Soul Suspect, another $2 game. This was a very early PlayStation 4 and even a PlayStation 3 title that came out way back in, I believe, 2013 or 2014. I actually did enjoy this one. It's a detective game where you're investigating yourself being murdered. You have to try and complete these crime scene objectives as a detective who's a ghost, and also fight ghosts at the same time. It's a rough game in terms of not being able to execute on that cool premise that well, but for trophy hunters it's very easy. So if you're looking for an easy trophy game, pick this one up. And for $2 you're getting a pretty decent sort of stealth action game here as well, so worth your time for $2. Dishonored Definitive Edition. This is the PlayStation 3 and 360 version of the game that's ported to the PS4. Keep that in mind, it is a last gen game. It's $6 on the PlayStation Store, so if you're looking to get into the Dishonored franchise, this is a really good way to do it. Dishonored is a first-person stealth franchise. It does a lot of stuff that like Thief and BioShock do really well, where it takes like the special powers from BioShock that you get from the tonics, and it takes the sort of stealth combat from Thief and kind of combines the two of them into this really cool first-person stealth combat game. Call of Cthulhu. This is another really interesting, based on the Lovecraftian novel, this is a really interesting action game as well that does stuff quite differently. This is a game that a lot of you probably haven't heard of before, and for $9, it's a pretty decent deal for this game. The game itself plays from a first-person perspective, and it has a combination of these sort of stealth storytelling elements as well as these kind of detective combat stealthy elements to them as well. Pretty unique game, very unique setting in this one as well, and another one of these kind of under the radar titles from the PS4, I would say. Resident Evil 0 is $5 on the PlayStation Store at the moment. This is a great deal for this game. This is the prequel to Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, set in a train. You play as two different characters who aren't featured in the mainline series. I believe it's Eddie and Claire, if I remember correctly. This game is the isometric sort of top-down fixed camera viewpoint version of Resident Evil though, the same as RE1 was. So if you aren't into that and you're into more the third-person Resident Evil games, then this might not be for you. But if you wanted to catch up on Resident Evil as a franchise and as a whole, it's great to go back and play these earlier games, especially if you missed them when they originally came out, and you're getting ready for RE8, then this is the perfect way to do it. Thief is $2, and yeah, this game is often $2 on the PlayStation Store. It has been, at least in the last couple of sales. This is nothing wholly new, but if you're looking for a really budget stealth action game, then Thief is probably as cheap as it's gonna get. I don't know if this is a particularly great game. I've had a lot of people who have picked this up say it's pretty average, but for gamers on a budget, keeping in mind it's only $2, you may have an awesome time with it for that price. Just Cause 3 is $4. This is absolutely worth $4, by the way. This is an awesome open world action game. It's kind of like a Grand Theft Auto clone, but then they added all these cool flying mechanics and wingsuits and parachutes and explosions and things like that. It's a wild ride, and for $4 this is an absolute steal of a game. The original Resident Evil is $5 as well. Pretty awesome price for the original Resident Evil. Very similar to Resident Evil 0, this one is told from that isometric fixed camera point of view, so it's a little bit hard to play if you're not into those kind of games and you're not familiar with how those kind of games work. But if you're looking for Resident Evil's heritage, it's again a must play in terms of getting prepped for RE8 if you haven't played them in the past. The Evil Within is $8. This is the third-person horror game based on the Resident Evil franchise. If you enjoy Resident Evil, you're going to enjoy this game. Although the camera is a little bit more fixed, very similar to RE4. The game itself tells a really creepy horror story. It got a sequel as well, published by Bethesda, but actually developed by a studio called Tango Works with ex-Resident Evil developers on the team. Alien Isolation is $6. This is an epic horror adventure game if you're into those kind of things. It is absolutely terrifying. You're on the spaceship trying to avoid the alien, and your objectives are all unrelated to the alien, but the alien is just constantly trying to get you and attack you, and you have to hide from it and avoid it at all costs. It's really interesting when you're trying to do something, but then this one creature just keeps creeping back up on you and ruining all your plans. It definitely makes for a very tense horror game, especially when you're not really supposed to kill it. So it's a little bit different to how a lot of horror games work today. The Wolf Among Us 2 is my favorite Telltale game. It's my favorite narrative-driven, I guess, adventure game like this as well. It's $4.49. This is set in the Fables universe, so it tells a lot of stories around fairy tales, like Humpty Dumpty and Snow White and things like that. It's a very neat way of telling these stories. I never really knew much about Fables until I played this game, but the entire concept is actually really cool, seeing these fairy tale characters in this very risque R18 sort of world. You're investigating a murder. You play as this guy called Bigby, who's a werewolf basically. He's a detective investigating things. It's a really, really good adventure game. And for this price, it is such a good deal. Persona 5 is $7.99. This is the big JRPG, probably one of the better JRPGs that came out on the PlayStation 4. Maybe not quite as good as Dragon Quest, but it's still a great game. Keep in mind, it is on the PlayStation Plus collection, so if you're planning on getting a PS5, don't pick this one up because you'll get it for free with your PS5. But if not, it's a great price for a massive open JRPG that's going to take you literally hundreds of hours to complete. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition is $4.49. This is a great price for this game. Another GTA clone set in Hong Kong, third-person action game that focuses much more on hand-to-hand combat and driving. This game originally was a driving game before it became a third-person action game, so the driving mechanics in this game are second to none. Some of the best in any third-person game like this, open world game like this, I would say. But there you have it, there's 24 games under 10 bucks on this PlayStation Store sale. I tried to rush through these as quickly as possible to get as much content into this video in as short amount of time as possible for you guys so that you get the best bang for your buck. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel, indie deals, budget games, $5 games, and PSVR games as well. If you're into any of those things and you want to check out those, make sure you click on some of those other videos. Give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you gamers in the next video. Why hello there. You've caught me during one of my many video game sessions. Now I hear you all asking in the comments, why don't I play more games on the YouTube channel? Well, it's because I stream over on Twitch. That's Twitch. Yeah, that's right. I stream over on Twitch twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday. We stream at 9 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time every single Wednesday and Friday. At the moment, we have a really cool retro series called Throwback Wednesdays going, where we're playing through the entire Sly Cooper trilogy, which is actually 4 games. We're also playing some Hunt Showdown on Fridays. We really appreciate it if y'all could head over to the Twitch channel, hit that follow button over on Twitch, and then come and join in on the fun when I'm live. Hopefully, I'll see you over there. Bye for now. This is a cool controller, right?